Hey, it's Diana again. How y'all doing? Tonight I thought I would do another installment of Woman Once Removed. Tonight I moved to a different location. There was so much going on in the other room that had originally been a sleeping porch. It was outside, and someone that owned the house before I did turned it into a sunroom, and there's like 5 windows around it, so the sound comes in really easily since it's right next to a street. So I decided to set up in a middle bedroom in my house. Over here is my dining room, over here is the bathroom, over that way is my parlor, and back here is another closed-in sunroom. So I'm kind of in the middle of my house, so I'm hoping that there'll be less distraction with noise. So I thought we would talk about hormones tonight. I touched bases a little bit in my last video about how Jeanette and I got our hormones from Jack after meeting the prostitutes on Trade Street and seeing their hormone development. Those were black girls. I'll never forget those girls. It was Miss Waddell and Miss Ezell. Now, they looked exactly like women. And Miss Ezell could have been a movie star, a fashion model. She was absolutely stunningly beautiful. Miss Waddell was attractive, but not extremely beautiful like Miss Ezell. And I know that both of those girls have passed away. I think they died with AIDS. So, here's to you girls. You really helped us out in our time of need. And I did get to visit with those girls through the years and would see them in clubs when I would go dancing and stuff. And since those were straight clubs, you know, we would just tip to each other and go on. Because you don't want to draw attention to yourself whenever you have a few things about you that in a group might draw attention, but as one, people don't pay attention. So I got my hormones, and the boy who bought me my first hormones was a guy that I met shortly after moving to Charlotte. His name was Bobby. He was so cute. Oh, I think he was like 17. I was 18. And of course we were young and in love, and he paid for my first hormones, and we dated for a good while. And then he went to the military, and I know I saw him once or twice when he was home on leave, and of course we went our separate ways, and our lives, you know, went in different directions, but he was my first love. And so then I got on my hormones, and of course, you know, hormones make a girl get all emotional and weepy-fied, and it's hard to get through that, but of course we do. And I'll never forget that that's a sebestrol, and from what I understand, it makes everybody really nauseous at first. The first day you take it, you're going to throw up. And I was no exception. And but after that, you know, I was fine. And with me, it was more subtle because I didn't have facial hair and I didn't have body hair to deal with. All I was wanting really was to make my already small breast fill out and develop more. And of course, they started doing that. but not as fast as I wanted. And so in a year after that, I got breast implants, and to fill them out and make them rounder and everything. But what I really didn't know is this, through the years, that sorry about that. My camera, which is my smartphone, started showing that it was low battery, and I couldn't figure out how it could be low battery since it's plugged up to the electricity. So I'll try to finish what I was talking about. About a year after I started with hormones, I went and had breast implants. And one thing I learned is through the years, you can gain weight and have breast development through hormones on top of your breast implants. So if you make the mistake of getting too big of breast implants, through the years, it's just going to grow and get bigger and bigger on top of your implants. And that happened to me. Through the years, I mean, my breasts were extremely large. And so now I wish that I had gotten smaller implants at the time. But I had no idea this was going to happen. If I had it to do over again, I would have just gotten ones that were nice and round, which would have filled out what I already had, and then they would have grown through the years. But I didn't know that. There was nobody really to tell me anything like that. Nobody knew that. The doctor that I went to, I was the first trans patient he ever had. So he was just experimenting himself. So he didn't know. We'll talk about him, Dr. Britton, later on, whenever I'm more into talking about my surgeries. But tonight we're just talking about hormones. So after that, after several years, and I was able to get a doctor, then I went on different types of estrogen. And after I had my SRS in 1977, and I was 20 years old, Dr. Barber put me on estradiol, which I took for many, many years. And then I took several different types of estrogen through the years, just whatever the doctors would put me on. And it was usually not a hormone doctor. It was nobody that really knew that much about hormones. It was just somebody who was experimenting, because I've never been to a gender clinic or a doctor who knew that much about hormones. Today they're everywhere. So make sure that you go to a doctor that can get your hormone levels and know exactly what you need. Most girls are doing that, and I applaud you for doing that. And I applaud you for getting your therapy. You need to see a therapist to get some help with your life. Even post-ops need a therapist. Someone that can put things in the right perspective and give them a way of coping through changes that you're going to go through. You're going to go through changes with age, with relationships, marriages, divorces, jobs. There's always things that you're going to need to talk to somebody about. Because life is not easy. Life is hard for most everybody. And then when you put transgender on top of it, then you've got another obstacle right there that you need some help with. And just because you have surgery, that doesn't mean everything is perfect. It's just another hurdle that you've crossed. But it's not everything. You've still got life to live. Real life out there beyond the transition. You know, there should be all kinds of therapy for beyond the transition. because there's still things that's going to go on in your life. It never stops. It never stops. Myself being 43 years post-op, it never stops. It's always something going on. It's always jobs and boyfriends and husbands and everything. Aging, trying to age gracefully, trying to keep yourself, motivated to go on. Those things are constant. So you need some help with that. I've been watching a girl's channel, Jackie Rabbit, and that's one of the best things that she keeps telling her viewers. Get therapy. Find a therapist first. And keep his name on your Rolodex, honey. Keep it, in your automatic redial, so that when something happens through the years, you can always call somebody up and say, hey, I need to talk to somebody. Because I'm telling you, people, the average person don't care. And like with me, I'm very close to my relatives, but they don't want to talk about trans issues. No, that's your past, they say. It makes them uncomfortable because they've gotten to the point where they consider you female, so they don't want to be reminded that you weren't born that way. They don't want to be reminded that you may have problems or just concerns that you would like to talk to somebody about. So it's good to have somebody that you can talk to. That's one of the reasons I started talking to other trans people in my later years, because there are times that you need to talk to somebody that understands what you're going through. And the average person does not, will never, and doesn't want to even be involved with it. And even if you weren't trans, with all the things that goes on in people's lives, you need somebody to talk to. You need somebody that really gives a shit, because that's what they're getting paid to do. So money talks. So find yourself a therapist. So, back to hormones. Later on, after surgery, I was married, and I started going through what the doctors described as a false pregnancy. I had too many hormones going through my body, and I started lactating, and I started wanting a baby so bad. I was about 26 at this time. Oh gosh, that's all I thought about was wanting a baby. I could just feel myself having a baby. I would dream about having a baby. I'll never forget, one night I had this dream that felt so real. I was actually having the baby in the hospital. My whole dream was me delivering this baby. And I woke up as it was delivering. So I honestly was looking around looking for the baby. And when I realized it was a dream, it broke my heart. Because I loved this baby that I was having, and to know that it wasn't there. I tried to wake my husband up to tell him about the dream. He said, take it to daycare and let me go back to sleep. So sometimes you can take too many hormones, especially after surgery. You don't need to take as many. So I started cutting back. My doctor that explained to me what it was, what my body was doing, he told me then I didn't need to take them very, very often or very much, because after surgery you don't need them that often. So I went a lot of years that I didn't take them very often. I maybe took 3 or 4 months out of the year, and then I stopped. And so I've noticed through the years that there were things that were starting to look a little rough around the edges. And so I decided to transition again and start back on my hormones on a full-time basis. I wrote it down so I can know. It's estradiol 2 milligrams, and I take that daily. And I get that from healthwarehouse.com, because the hormones that I could get in my local drugstores were expensive. So I went online, and this company requires you to have your physician, ooh, that thing just slipped down, to have your physician to fax them your prescription. And I pretty much guarantee you that you can get them for a fraction of the cost of what you can get them for in your pharmacy. So if, like myself, that, you know, the pricing is an issue, you know, check them out. But still, you'll have to have a prescription to get them. So I hope that helps somebody out there. So I'm with a lot of you girls now, getting back on my hormones, trying to see if it'll help my skin, help my wrinkling, help my hair. A lot of things that were, like I said, was getting rough around the edges. My skin was getting rough and things, and so we're going to see what it does. My pretty pills. So, okay, girls, I'll let you go. Girls and guys, I've got some guys watching my channel too, some old friends. And I'll talk to y'all later. Love y'all.